Well, tonight, a man is charged with drunk driving in a crash that seriously injured a woman on Long Island. 36-year-old woman was hit by that driver after she got out of her own disabled car on the Saginaw State Parkway over the weekend. Both of her legs had to be amputated. Long Island reporter Shantae Lanz talked to the victim's mother today.
I'm overwhelmed. I'm just thankful my daughter's alive. I'm thankful she's alive.
A flurry of emotions pour out of Roberta Vanderveer. Outside of Stony Brook Hospital, her firstborn, her 36-year-old daughter, Dejanay Vanderveer, was struck by an alleged drunk driver early Saturday morning on Saginaw State Parkway. The single mother from Rockville Center lost both her legs. An off-duty Suffolk County police officer returning home from a wedding saw her, stopped, and helped.
And he took off his tie, and he set a tourniquet around one of her legs, and he took off his belt, and he tourniqueted her other leg, and another police officer tourniqueted her arm, and so she wouldn't bleed out.
He doesn't even know her, but he took the time to save her from bleeding out. And that, to me, deserves more than just a thank you.
Vanderveer's aunt, mother, brother, and 15-year-old son all returned to the hospital.
I'm kind of trying my best to keep together. It's fairly difficult to see my mom one day with legs and then another day just her in the hospital.
Saturday's DWI crash was one of 3 over the weekend on Long Island. A person died at the 2 other crashes, but Vanderveer survived. The driver that struck Vanderveer has been identified as Kevin Rosadaki of Brooklyn. He was charged with DWI.
His life is the same. Nothing happened. All he gets to do is read what happened, but he doesn't get to feel it. He doesn't have to live it, and that's wrong. I think it's just wrong.
Since our interview, Dejanay came together with members of the community and the NYPD to remember 2 innocent newborn twin boys found dead. Police naming the babies Zeke and Zane.
Justice for Zeke and Zane.
Detectives are asking for the public's help in finding the mother. The case has gone cold. It was 2 years ago today that the superintendent of this apartment building on College Avenue in the Claremont section of the Bronx found the newborns just hours old in the afternoon near the garbage behind the building.
The first baby is discovered on the ground here, wrapped in a blue whitish, like a wee-wee pad that you would use underneath your dog.
The second infant was found wrapped in a garbage bag about 30 feet away.
One baby had blunt force trauma to the head, and the other baby had blunt force trauma to the stomach.
As if they had been beaten.
Correct.
They do not believe anybody in this building is associated with the mother, the father, or the babies. They think what happened was somebody walked through this alleyway here in between these 2 apartment buildings in the back, climbed over this fence, and then dumped the babies back here. The mother's DNA was found on the garbage bag.
All residents in the building gave us their DNA and fingerprints. None of them match any of the DNA that we recovered.
And the baby's DNA does not match any found in databases. NYPD detectives held a funeral and burial for the newborns after their death.
I think you got to.
Well, police tonight searching for the men who robbed a postal carrier in Brooklyn. The worker was standing on 24th Street in Sheepshead Bay. 2 men came up, threatened him, then stole his mail carrier today just after 3 p.m. They got away in a U-Haul that didn't have a license plate. The mail carrier wasn't injured. First breaking news in Queens. We've just learned that the 18-year-old who was shot near a high school has now died.
The deadly gunfire erupting this afternoon in the Kew Gardens Hill section.
Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager is live at the scene with the breaking details. Stacey?
Well, Sade, a very busy police scene here in Kew Gardens Hill since about 3:15 this afternoon, and one that has sadly now become a murder investigation. Behind me here on Main Street, you can see police still on the scene, Main Street near 77th Road. And over here, just to the side of it, at this bus stop on Main Street, that is right where the shooting occurred. We can take a look at pictures we took right after this happened. And when we first pulled up a while ago now, you could still see the victim's clothing lying on the ground. One Once again, an 18-year-old who was shot in the chest, shot 4 times, and has now died. Once again, this is Main Street at 77th Road here in Kew Gardens Hills, only feet away from a high school, the North Queens Community High School. And for a short while today, we did speak to residents. One man in particular who has lived here more than 50 years. He saw that teen lying helpless on the ground. Here's what he had to say.
I see someone on the ground, huddled up. And there was a younger adult up there says, wake up, trying to move. The person on the ground did not move 1 inch. Whatever. I didn't see any blood or anything because I was across the street, but he didn't move at all. And everybody was calling 911. They came very quickly. The ambulances came.
Bizarre death in Queens. The mystery began. That's when an SUV crashed into a van in Queens, and then the driver ran off. But when police arrived at the scene, they discovered a man in the back of that SUV who had been fatally shot. Fox Eye's Briella Tomasetti is live at the scene right now with more details. Briella, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Bianca, good morning to you. And this is quite interesting because when cops got here yesterday, they thought they were arriving and responding to a hit and run, but this quickly evolved into a homicide investigation. This all coming as we learn more about that 48-year-old Connecticut man found shot in the back of that Range Rover SUV.
My impression was I thought it was an auto accident, and I just came home right now and I seen all these police officers, so I'm thinking, wow, why would there be so many officers for an auto accident? And I'm just realizing right now that it was a crime scene.
What at first seemed to be a minor car crash in Flushing, Queens, led police to a gruesome discovery. Investigators say 109th Precinct officers responded to the intersection of Parsons Boulevard and Franklin Avenue at around 4:15 yesterday afternoon for reports of a collision involving a white van and a black Range Rover SUV. When police got there, they found an unconscious 48-year-old man in the back of the Range Rover with a gunshot wound to the back of the head. They say the driver got out of the car and took off. Jimmy Bear, who was in the neighborhood with his 3-year-old son, says he saw that driver make a run for it.
I saw a gentleman, or the suspect, running around the white van, and he was carrying.
New video has been released showing a deadly encounter between police and a gunman.
It happened last night in Brooklyn. CBS 2's Allie Bauman here now with the story. Allie.
Maurice and Christine, we've just learned the suspect has been identified as 42-year-old Jermaine Hickson from Manhattan. Police believe this all began with a domestic dispute late last night, which turned into a shootout with officers and ended in the suspect's death. This surveillance video obtained by CBS 2 News shows a man standing in the crosswalk at West 36th Street and Neptune Avenue in Coney Island last night. An NYPD squad car pulls up, and as the doors open on both sides, the man puts up his arm and fires at least 3 shots. We're freezing the video when police return fire and picking it up moments later when the man is on the ground, still continuing to fire off rounds at the cops.
He continues to fire at our officers. And then eventually he stops. Our officers are able to close in on him, they subdue him, they handcuff him, and they start rendering aid.
The suspect, 42-year-old Jermaine Hickson, was pronounced dead. This is the gun police recovered from the scene. Authorities say this all started when patrol officers heard gunshots around 10 p.m. Thursday. They followed the sound and found 2 women who said there was a man down the block with the gun, so they drove over.
The impetus for this male being in the street firing a gun was a domestic violence job, we believe. We believe the 2 females that initially waved down the sergeant are the victims in this case.
In video of a mom and her 10-year-old daughter attacked on the subway in the Bronx.
The mom tried to shield her daughter from the punches from a woman they didn't know, a woman New York cops really want to find.
Johnny Fernandez talking to the mom. He's live in the Allergen section. Johnny?
Hey, good afternoon. Well, the mom's simply saying that she has seen these type of things happen around the city, but she never thought that it would actually happen to her and her daughter. And today, she wants to get the message out there and hope that the attacker is found so this does not happen again. This disturbing video shows a mother shielding her 10-year-old daughter from the blows of a grown woman on a 5 train in the Bronx.
You know, the people see nobody doing nothing, just see.
The mom, scared for her family's safety, says they were heading home from school a few weeks ago and noticed the attacker on the train, but didn't have any interaction with her. Moments later, the unthinkable happened.
She don't say nothing to me. Just he punch the head is like crazy. Just he boom, 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 no say nothing to me, nothing.
The family got off at Westchester Avenue and Simpson Street, where they asked for help from police. The victim says they both were punched in the face and mouth. Police now releasing these pictures of the attacker. They say the attacker was last seen at the Simpson Street subway station in the Bronx. She was last seen wearing a black jacket and had on black sunglasses. Despite the horrific experience, this mom says they've had to use the train daily, but her 10-year-old daughter is having a hard time.
Robbery that targeted a 12-year-old boy in the Bronx. It happened last month inside a building near Park Avenue and East 158th Street in Melrose. Investigators believe the two suspects are between 13 and 16 years old. Police say one of the robbers flashed a knife and stole the boy's credit card. No injuries were reported. Police are
A Fayetteville woman is in critical condition after police say her boyfriend threw her off a third-floor balcony. In the last few hours, WRAL learned the victim, Diana Rollins, is pregnant, and 5 children were in the home when this all unfolded. WRAL's Fayetteville reporter Gilbert Bays explains the man accused of doing this faces a list of charges, including attempted first-degree murder.
Well, Fayetteville police found the victim inside this wooded area here behind the apartment complex. We're told by family members that she lived on the 3rd floor and she was thrown by her boyfriend from that 3rd floor balcony. Neighbors say for the past several months there has been conflict and domestic violence between Diana Rollins and her boyfriend, 26-year-old Thurman Brewer. The couple has 5 kids and another one on the way. Early this morning, things got extremely heated.
There's someone upstairs. We heard the fighting. We heard the arguing. She's either being held against her own will or she's unconscious.
I talked to several neighbors who say Rollins was thrown from the 3rd floor balcony. Police found her about 20 feet in the woods behind her apartment. Neighbors believe when police broke in to get Thurman, he jumped from the same balcony to escape, but was captured a short time later. This is not the first time the family has dealt with domestic violence. In 2018, Rollins' mother was stabbed to death in College Lakes Park by a woman who was seeing her ex-boyfriend.
And she pulled up into the College Lakes Park. When she get to the College Lake Park, a little argument took place. Then he kicked my sister in the face with some steel-toe boots on, and then the girl took a knife out and cut her. And all that happened in front of my mother.
Rollins says his niece is 5 months pregnant and is in critical condition after undergoing surgery. Brewer is being held in the Cumberland County Detention Center.
Also developing this afternoon, a mystery in the Graniteville section of Staten Island. Police trying to figure out who stabbed a 72-year-old man to death. Officers say a home health aide discovered him in his bed Monday morning with stab wounds to his torso. The victim lives alone. Police say nothing was stolen.
Police are searching for 2 men wanted in a robbery in the Diamond District in Midtown. It happened just before 8 o'clock last night. Now, according to investigators, 2 men and a woman were robbed outside Avis Jewelry on 47th Street. Police say the suspects took an estimated $72,000 in jewelry and watches. The men ran away from the area. They got off in a white Jeep Cherokee.
There's growing concern that gay men are being targeted for robbery and assaults at bars and Hell's Kitchen.
Now, this is a very serious situation we are tracking. There have been at least 2 cases where men were killed and their bank accounts emptied. Linda Clary is the mother of 33-year-old John Umberger. He was last seen leaving a popular gay nightclub on Memorial Day weekend.
Every last person has been gay, and they're focused on gay bars, and the singling out factor is they all find themselves isolated at any given moment.
Several cases may be involved here. The NYPD says it is investigating at least 14 incidents where individuals have been victims of either robbery or assault. Police say some of those victims are members of the LGBTQ plus community, but not all of them, and that the motivation in all of these cases appears to be for monetary purposes.
El Minuto is brought to you by La Fe.
I'm Ash Chaparro, and here's what's new. A teenager was shot and killed about a block away from his high school, North Queens Community High School. This happened just after
Today, looking for two men accused of driving around on a scooter, snatching necklaces right off people's necks in Queens. The victims include a young girl. CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge spoke to her about this traumatizing experience.
They're just the worst human beings alive, just to put a 12-year-old girl in that position.
Standing with her mother, 12-year-old Julie Montiel describes the moment two men rode up behind her on a scooter and one grabbed her necklace and tried to pull it off of her, dragging her down the sidewalk until the scooter fell over. The man kept on pulling until he got her chain and they drove off.
It happened fast, so like when I didn't feel when I was getting dragged. I only cared about the necklace.
The 7th grader was able to get back up. Her mother says they hurt her elbow, legs, face, and especially her neck. Montiel says she held on because the necklace had sentimental value. Her mom gave matching necklaces to her and her sister when they were little.
I think it was really special because I had it for a lot of years, and for me it was like safety.
The robbery happened October 24th as she was walking home after school on Layton Street near Britton Avenue. Montiel says she noticed the men following her for about 5 minutes before they assaulted her.
They were following me from like the 82nd and to my house. I just think they're disrespectful because I've never harmed someone in a way the way they did to me, so it's like I don't think I deserve that.
Police say these same thieves have struck 7 times in neighborhoods throughout Elmhurst, Corona, and Jackson Heights. The most recent theft happened last Monday near Penrod Street and Otis Avenue. This witness saw the pair approach a 48-year-old woman and grab her necklace.
So I saw 2 guys in the motorcycle when they came here at this corner, so they were...
32-year-old Shatiqua Palmer says she has more questions than answers. This comes after Memphis police told WREG today Palmer's case is an ongoing death investigation, after initially reporting she had been located. Palmer was initially reported missing to police last week. Early Friday morning, an officer showed up to a Whitehaven home, where a report says Palmer's roommate and her mother said they hadn't heard from her since the day before. Her roommate said Palmer told her she would be right back and left with a Lyft driver in an unknown vehicle. The roommate and Palmer's mother told the investigator they had called her phone multiple times, but it went straight to voicemail. They tracked her last known location using her iPad. Her boyfriend told police he also went to that location and spoke with a man there who said she left, but he didn't know when. Tonight, police haven't given us any details about how they believe Palmer died or where she was located. But loved ones we did speak with said the mother of 2 was a joy to be around and very loving.
Terrifying moments here caught on camera inside a medical clinic in Buffalo, New York. A man with an assault rifle storms in, fires a shot. The clinic security guard jumps into action, pouncing on the gunman. They struggle for control of that high-powered weapon.
I would be lying to you if I was to say to you that I was not scared for my life. And the first thing that flashed over my brain was my baby boy who just turned 3 years old. I had him and I had the rifle. I was just saying, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And that's when he turned back and he had stopped fighting for a while. And that's when the other security guard was coming down the stairs.
Both security guards were then able to shove the gunman through the clinic door and out into the sidewalk. They were then able to get control of that AR-15 assault rifle and hold the man until police got there. No word on what he was doing in that building. Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get
free food, kicked and assaulted a manager. Good evening, I'm Julie Hayner.
And I'm Mike Beback. That's when diners enjoying dinner rushed in to help. KTVU crime reporter Henry Lee live in the newsroom tonight with more on that video and what happened to the suspect. Henry?
Well, Mike and Julie, this Thai restaurant's dealt with the same guy before. He's dined and dashed in the past, but Berkeley police tell me this went way over the line. This is surveillance video from a Thai restaurant in downtown Berkeley.
A man came into a restaurant and he demanded some free food.
When the manager told him no, this happened. The suspect knees the manager in the ribs and then kicks him after he falls to the ground.
Suspect is attacking the manager, and the manager's falling over a table, and there are a number of other people in the restaurant.
The attack happened in front of Shock Diners at about 5:15 Wednesday afternoon at the restaurant on Shattuck Avenue. But 2 customers jumped up and immediately confronted the suspect. They held him down until Berkeley police arrived.
The others in the store who were able to help out the staff person, the manager there, applaud their efforts. We certainly don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Berkeley police arrested this man, 32-year-old Anthony DeMaria, in connection with the attack. He told one Good Samaritan he was upset because his grandmother had died.
I don't have any information as to his motives, but certainly nobody deserves to be attacked in that manner.
Restaurant staff tell me they've dealt with the same man at least twice before. In one case, they say he sat down for a meal and then left without paying. But authorities say dining and dashing, also known as defrauding an innkeeper, is a far cry from a violent assault. I showed the surveillance video to restaurant customers and passersby.
I love that they held him down. They didn't let him run out. They held him till the police came.
If I was in that situation, I would probably take him down as well. Customers stepping in, everybody stepping in.
Now the suspect's been charged by the Alameda County DA with felony assault with force likely to produce great bodily injury. Live in the newsroom, Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
And Henry. That suspect tonight still in jail, or did he post bail?
Still in jail last time I checked, Mike.
Okay, and nice work by those fellow diners in there to take him down. Henry Lee, live in the newsroom tonight. Henry, thank you.